Upland's fifth Genesis Week is right around the corner, and the third time that they're going to be having Genesis live in Las Vegas. It's going to be June 6th and 7th, and you should definitely go. In this interview, I spoke with Humansim, who is a nominee for Player of the Year. He was at Genesis Week last year, and we talked about the importance of community and what you're missing out on if you're not going to Genesis Week. There are lots of opportunities that present themselves to players at Genesis Week, and if you're on the fence about going, you should definitely watch this interview. I hope you enjoy it. So let's get right into the rapid fire questions. When did you first join Upland?
I joined Upland during spring of 2021 during the releases of Oakland.
What is your home neighborhood in Upland?
Currently, I'm helping out Bronxdale, but usually I stick around in Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Upland is known as the Play, Earn, and Connect Metaverse. If that was a pie where you have play and earn and connect, when you started playing Upland just over 3 years ago, how would you split up that pie?
I think I'm in the minority where I found it was much more play because the way I found Upland, but that's my personal experience with Upland. I view it much more like a game where I play it a lot more and I get a lot more of my enjoyment out of it.
Okay, and today, 3 years later, with that same question, how would you split up that pie of play, earn, and connect?
I think Earn has made its way, at least with my tracks I've gone, because I've developed Upland into a venture to make myself a little more money, as well as enjoying myself while I'm doing it.
Great. We'll ask a couple of questions about that, and I want you to talk about your guides as well. What was your last purchase in Upland?
Oh goodness, probably a Brooklyn property because I have an obsession with that city. Let's be
Okay.
real, that's probably where I put my money.
And what is your favorite partnership that Upland currently has?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm really excited to see what the recent partnership with GunTech and Matilda Studios is going to do. I feel like that's got a lot of promise to really elevate Upland beyond where it already is.
Absolutely. They're going to be announcing something exciting during Genesis Week, which is actually going to be happening next week in Las Vegas. And this is your second time that you're going to be at Genesis Week. And this year you are actually nominated for Player of the Year. So congratulations about that. Can you take a minute to talk about your experience about Genesis Week last year and what made you want to come back this year for Genesis Week?
So there was a lot of different reasons why I wanted to come back. My first year was really awesome. I got to meet the team. I got to meet a lot of the people I've worked with in Upland. And one of the most important things and why I recommend people going to Genesis Week is to develop those connections with other players because it's a lot harder to do that like in the game itself. By seeing a person face to face, you can really strengthen those connections and elevate your gameplay as well as everyone else's. And this year, there's a lot more incentives to come this year. I know they're giving out Spark. I know the prizes are a little bigger this year. But even if you ignore all that, the camaraderie and the awesomeness of being able to meet the devs, meet the players who made this game what it is, it to me is worth it in and of itself.
I definitely agree. I didn't meet you last year. I was at Genesis Week the year before that. And just meeting other players and being exposed to different ideas, different strategies, and potential for creating partnerships within the metaverse. And it's just a really great experience. Um, was there something that really changed from your gameplay since you were there that you were like, wow, it's a good thing that I showed up because if I didn't show up, then I wouldn't have thought of this great idea or I wouldn't have thought that this is something that's important in Upland?
So I think the one thing that I learned from last year was how important those connections are because those connections are what allow like my personal ventures to really thrive as much as they are. Because without those connections, you're kind of like on an island. And you don't want to do that when you're trying to, let's say, make money or make a name for yourself. Because if you're on an island, it's so hard to connect yourself with everyone. So you want to bring yourself alongside everyone. And by going to Genesis Week, you can at least get that door open and then continue it after you leave.
That's a very important point, and I experienced that as well when I was there at Genesis Week. Talking about this connect aspect, what you're very active on Discord. Can you talk about what your experience was and what you've been doing to get you the nomination for Player of the Year, and why Discord is such an important tool for anyone who's playing Upland?
Of course. I feel like Discord is one of the most important tools you can ever use to play Upland because it's the best communication device we have to communicate with all the players of Upland. I know not every player uses it, but a lot of our biggest players, a lot of our biggest partnerships are fed through that medium. And until Upland's in-game chat catches up, I feel like you better take advantage of it. Personally, I've taken advantage of it by being a moderator for the Discord chat. That way, I help out the team, build my reputation up as a good person, and alongside that, I use it to help build up my business of creating guides for players.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit more about these guides? The guides that you make are based around new city releases, and that's a really big part of the Upland metaverse. Currently, Upland has city releases about once a season, so that's every month and a half or so. At the beginning, when there was a lot less to do in Upland, they would have city releases every month, and my personal opinion is that's part of the most exciting part of Upland, being able to purchase properties that are mapped to the real world. Can you talk about how you've taken a business around that experience of Upland?
So around 2 years ago, back in like February 2022, I decided to make a guide for like a little fun for LA. I was like, oh, why don't we make a little guide for LA to figure out what areas might be good? And I'd give it to some friends. And then my friend's like, you should really make that into something like a business. And so lo and behold, 2 years later, I've developed that into a marketable business where I create these guides for city releases where the collections are not known. So for example, like Trenton, Stockton, and Slough, we didn't make guides because we already knew the collections. They were revealed. But when we have South Lake Tahoe, DC, when we get future cities, I try to make a guide. That way you can go into the release having some sort of information, especially for players that are busy. Like we have parents, we have full-time workers. I can't expect you to have the time to sit down for Upland to fulfill one aspect of the gameplay. So I like this. When I created this, my goal was to help out players that just don't have that type of time.
Yeah, that's great. New cities are really exciting, and people really have an opportunity to go and mint a property for a couple of dollars and really sell that for quite a lot of money. There are people who have purchased small properties and they end up becoming rare or ultra rare properties. So it's really exciting to have those opportunities. Now, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that everybody is going to be able to make money with hundreds of thousands of properties in Upland. There are always going to be properties that are more valuable and less valuable. So it's important to really know that. But having a guide and having someone that's experienced in kind of understanding Upland's ideas and how they create collections, it's something that you can develop over time. There's been over 30 city releases, and players who are more experienced, they do kind of get a feeling and they kind of know to some degree which areas are more likely to have collections and not. So having a guide like that, I think, is something that's very valuable for new players and even people like myself who don't really have a lot of time to do that kind of research. Um, and I'm sure from your perspective as well, it's something that you're probably going to be doing anyway. And um, did you think that you would be creating some sort of a venture or actually coming to make money not just by flipping properties and by owning things, but to build something of your own that you can sell to people within the metaverse? Like, is that something that was on your radar? Are you entrepreneurial in that sense?
Originally, it was not on my radar. Back when I first started, my name was made by making like the Upland maps that they would post on Twitter of like how to get around Upland with the new cities, and I did that for a year, and I thought that's where I'd plateau and I'd stay there, my little niche. But I had to jump niches when it just got too complicated for me. So I didn't think I'd ever develop into what I did today, but I'm really happy that I did because I think it gave me a niche that I can call my own while also making me happy every day that I do it.
That's great. That just goes to show you that really anybody can become some sort of a creator when it comes to Upland, whether it be creating map assets within the game or creating valuable tools that people can use outside the game to help them with their gameplay. Anyone can really get started, and you don't need anything. You know, you just used Google, you did some research, you found what other people need or want, and you're able to provide that service that help people potentially make a lot of money within the metaverse. So that's definitely an interesting tool and a valuable tool. And we're so early in the metaverse. Upland is going to be celebrating its fifth year and third in-person Genesis Week. And it's just interesting to see that at the very beginnings, there's just so much that's needed to help people and to provide information and tools and map assets and everything to build up the metaverse, what it means within the game and also outside the game and providing the support. So there's still tons and tons of opportunities, and you're a living proof of just someone who found an idea that can help people, and you're able to make money and enjoy yourself while doing that. So I think that's really an interesting pull regarding not just the Upland metaverse, but all of these metaverse platforms, which are all extremely new. So kudos to you for being able to do that. What are you most looking forward to this Genesis week? You talked about creating the connections, but Las Vegas in person, it's really exciting. There's lots of people. Upland, they're starting to talk about a little bit more about what the plans are. But what are you looking forward to?
I mean, looking forward to see what they're going to reveal to us because I know they have a lot of hype coming up to us for Genesis Week this year, and I'm really excited to see what they announce because I know when Upland does Genesis Week, they announce some big projects that they're working on, and I've been waiting all year to hear what they are. So I'm very excited for that.
Yep, every year they have not disappointed, and this year hopefully they will not disappoint again. So I wish you a lot of luck this year in your nomination for Player of the Year. And where can people find you?
So I have a website online that's called bananaguides.info. That's where you can find our website about our information about our project. You can also find me on Discord under the username Human Simulation. You can always add me in the main Upland Discord. You can reach out. I'm a friendly character. I would love to talk if anyone's ever interested. But those are my two main ways to contact. You can also contact me in-game under Humansim, the in-game chat. Because I get notifications, I will try to respond as soon as I can. I try to be punctual because I know not everyone has time. That's my main mantra. Not everyone has a lot of time, so we all use our time wisely.
Great. And any last words?
I think, honestly, I think everyone, if they could go to Genesis Week, they should, because I think it's one of the best experiences I've ever had. I know I'm a younger character in the Upland world. I'm turning 20 this year, but I feel like this is one of the best types of conventions I've been to, and I've been to quite a few.
Great. Well, I wish you a lot of luck again at Genesis Week and enjoy yourself. And if you see Human Simulation there, make sure to say hi and very friendly guy. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you as well.